Thanks a lot, Zach. That was terrific. And this is it, number 11. Justin Haupt talking about the government as a community curator. So Justin, go ahead and take it away.
How's everybody doing tonight? Hopefully you've had a few drinks, and we're ready to have a few more after this. Hi, I'm Justin Haupt. I want to talk about how government interacts with community. And specifically, I want to broach this term of government as a joiner. Remember that term, joiner. My 2-year-old daughter remembers it very well. What's a joiner? A joiner is somebody that joins a lot of groups, right? It might be a civic-minded person, and I think there are a lot of people like this in our community. And they might join a group like Geoloki, or they might join civic apps, or many other things. But there's another definition of a joiner. It's a little bit older, a little bit less used, and that's a joiner as a craftsperson, as a joiner of pieces, of creating something of enduring value. And that's, I think, the piece maybe that government needs to start looking at. Here in Portland, we have a lot of different people building these beautiful pieces of community. And I think that it's up to government maybe to realize some of this potential and lock into it and get something out of it for the rest of our citizens. So what are those pieces that interlock together that we can take advantage of in government? And so the main ones basically, and the most important concepts, the first one is caring. Like, what is caring? Why does that relate to community building? Oftentimes the government can create community on its own and actually run over an existing community. And so I think it's really important that government surveil what's out there and care about what's going on so that we don't actually tear down community in the middle of building it. So understanding, when we go out and we have government join the existing communities, we can find out things that we never could have found out before. Here's what we need. Here's what I did. You could try this. You get a real understanding of how to solve problems. Leadership. I think it's government's role to be a leader, but it's also government's role to help build leadership in the community. I don't know a better way to do that than to basically join efforts of community leaders and support them. Success. As we found out today here at GOSCON, success can often be about the community. And in an open source project, so for instance, if there's an open source project out there that's like what government wants to do, join it. Be a part of it. Don't recreate the wheel. So it sounds like awesome, right? Let's all be joiners. Well, is that happening? I don't really think it is. I think that there are a lot of barriers. And I think that those barriers are primarily rooted in some fear and some culture and maybe some roles that we've really latched onto. So what are those barriers? Those barriers basically start with the first thing, which is I think the biggest one, which is control. In the past, we've had our community efforts and our outreach be focused within communications departments, public affairs, and I think that's good, and they have a role. But I think that there's a bigger role for people in government. I think that government employees potentially need to have that role as well. And so what happens when we do that is we focus that outreach component into a few people. And there just aren't enough people to go around to reach everybody that needs to be reached, to join each community that needs to be joined. Culture. Government's not used to working with people that don't look like them. This was originally going to be a slide of Max Ogden, by the way. And so what I want to say is we need to learn how to be asymmetrical. So how do we do this? So there are some benefits to being a joiner, and then there are some disincentives or some things that are holding it back. I don't know. These are my ideas. I wrote them down on a napkin. But I do have a few ideas, okay? And the first one is to break down some of the silos between government employees and the people walking around on the streets. And I think what we need to do is we need to get government people to be joiners at the employee level. I think we need to get them involved in the community. I think that if you want to do government 2.0, it really needs to also be a grassroots thing, not just a top-down thing. I think that government is great and open data is great, but if you think about those are enterprise-level decisions. And where did I get all this Kool-Aid that I'm coming up with up here? And I got it really from the beautiful Portland community of developers. And the things that these people do are really amazing. The civil conversations, the effort that goes into it, people like Max, people that basically get together and have collegial conversations about real problems that we need to solve in our community. And by the way, I'm not a real DJ, I was just pretending. So basically, we need to rethink this a little bit. And so I'd like government to give those people a chance to be heard. And I'd also like to dedicate this talk tonight to a friend of mine that passed away basically the very day that I decided to do this talk. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Have another drink.